Hello, COE community. I am glad that everyone loved last week's Vested for Success video tutorial series about putting elephants in the room. In fact, I got a great question. How do you do this exercise in a virtual format? Well, that is a fantastic question and is the reason why we have used this question to build our Vested for Success video tutorial for this week. So first, if you have not seen the original Putting Elephants in the Room Real Play Vested for Success tip video, please check it out because it's going to explain this exercise. But as you know, elephants in the room can get pretty messy, so we want to usher them out. And sometimes we are not in face-to-face meetings. So therefore, how do you do this great exercise in virtual meetings? Well, I'm going to give you two tips today, two options. The first one is in Zoom or mural board. You can also use Teams as well. So each person takes 3 to 5 minutes and think about their elephants in the room. Now, you as a CDA coach, you need to help everyone understand how to use the Zoom whiteboard feature or the mural board feature. So if you're not already familiar with those tools, definitely do it. You can do a simple YouTube on Zoom whiteboard. Make sure that your whiteboard is anonymous, so you can actually flag that as anonymous. The same thing in a mural board. And so once people know how to use the annotate feature, tell everyone to, at the same time, just start to post on the whiteboard or on the mural board their elephants. Remember, if you've got this flagged as anonymous, no one will know who's putting what elephants in the room. So if possible, after all the elephants are in the room, have people take a break, and then you can review the results and create categories. You know, it's a great thing. You can kind of look through them and you can be moving them around, both in Zoom and Mural. You can easily move them around. You might actually take and put them by rule, for example. That's a great way to do it. So if it's not possible to do a break, simply just start going through each elephant. And in Zoom and in Mural, you can real time start to move sticky notes around. So you can actually do this on the fly. So here's some other great tips. Your goal is to help your clients discuss how elephants are harmful and how they're not driving the right results or the behavior. Pick on folks. You know, it's anonymous. You don't know who put in the elephants in the room, and neither do they. And so just start calling on folks. Gee, Sally, you know, why do you think this elephant is in the room? What does it mean to you when you hear it? And open up the dialogue. Pick on both the buyer and the supplier. Just get them to start talking about it. Ask them how they would usher the elephant out. How do they make this elephant, you know, not so big and scary and messy? Often in pre-deal scenarios, the majority of the elephants will actually be resolved as you work through the vested process. For example, one elephant that you see is a junkyard dogs. You know, gosh, you know, our client, they just micromanage us. How are they going to be able to change that culture? And you can talk to them through the rules and say, well, no, in Rule 2, we're going to do a workload allocation and a taxonomy and really help understand where there's duplication of efforts and work to get rid of the junkyard dogs. Now, the last tip for you is when you have a poor relationship, but really in any relationship, start each meeting with your shared vision and statement of intent and discuss the progress that is being done to get rid of each elephant. So if you start out and you've got 10 elephants or 15, you know, just pick one and start to, you know, talk. Is it smaller this week than it was last week? What do we still need to do to usher this elephant out of the room? Now, I've talked about categorizing the elephants. This is a great example. You saw this in last week's Vested for Success tutorial. But just, you know, rules are a great way to do it. I always like to pick on and pull out the elephants that are in the biggest areas, so we get to those first. In this case, governance had more elephants than any other place, so I'd talk to those first. All right, so here's another option when you're not face-to-face. This is actually to do it as pre-work. So there's two ways to do it. You're facilitating a workshop. You can actually ask each person on the team to write down their elephants and email them to you. Now, you'll know who said what, so you need to stress that it is anonymous, and while you know what is said, you commit not to share. Another way to do this is during the deal reviews. So you're often doing interviews during the deal review, and you can capture the elephants as one of the last questions during the interview process. So prior to the meetings, you can categorize the elephants and make it easier to talk through. So you can actually say, hey, as part of your pre-work or as part of the deal review, we ask, do you have any elephants in the room? And then you can show the categorization. You can actually pick out specific elephants and talk to them. Excellent. So that is our tip. So thanks so much for asking the question, how do you bring elephants in the room virtually? And I hope I've shared some good examples of that. So see you next week for the next Vested for Success video tutorial.